September is not just any month. It is the spiritual battleground where men discover their true inner selves. September NoFap, born in 2009 from a simple message on the 4chan forum and grown into a global movement, does not advocate sexual abstinence. It is about awakening the warrior within them. Although most men fail at first, giving in to the same urges that have controlled them since adolescence, unable to resist the invisible prison that imprisons them, mature bodies, young souls, a sacred minority uses this month as a gateway to masculine transcendence. What began as an internet joke has become the greatest silent revolution in modern masculinity. Millions of men have discovered that 30 days without ejaculation transforms not only the body, but also the soul, reconnecting with an ancestral strength that modernity has stolen from them. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why September is the most sacred month for any man on his spiritual path, how NoFap awakens dormant energies, why ancient mystical traditions revered semen retention as the key to inner power, and how 30 days can radically transform your relationship with your masculinity. But be warned, this video is not for those looking for superficial motivation. It's for those who deep down feel born for something greater, who sense a sacred fire within them just waiting to be ignited. Stay until the end, because what you discover could change not only September, but the rest of your life. There is something sacred in the September air, which few understand but everyone feels. It is the month of harvest, when nature reaps its fruits after months of silent growth. It is the time when the energies scattered throughout the summer gather, prepare and strengthen for what is to come. Our ancestors knew this rhythm. September was the month when warriors returned from their campaigns, sages retreated to deepen their studies, and spiritual masters began fasting and purification. It was a month conducive to introspection, strengthening, and the transmutation of pure energy into refined power. The Fap September movement was not born by chance in 2009. This message was born of an unconscious collective impulse. Millions of men simultaneously sensed that something was wrong with modern masculinity, that the ease of digital pleasure was emasculating a life force that should have been channeled into greatness, not wasted on pointless clicks. This simple message on 4chan struck a deep wound. Men realized they were living below their potential. That compulsive masturbation was not just a harmless habit, but an energetic prison that kept them weak and scattered. Disconnected from their warrior nature, Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, of universal truths emerging simultaneously in different cultures. September's natural planning program was precisely that, a collective awakening to an ancient truth, the realization that sexual energy is too sacred to be wasted, too powerful to be trivialized. September carries the archetypal energy of the king, the mature masculine aspect that governs his inner kingdom. Before attempting to govern anything external, the king does not scatter himself, does not indulge in whims, and does not waste his precious resources on idle pleasures. He conserves, focuses, and channels his strength toward nobler goals. This is why September is calling you. It is not your body that feels the urgency of this challenge. It is your soul that recognizes that the time has come to wake up, to stop living like a child disguised as a man, to assume the throne that has always been yours, but which you have abandoned. Every time you chose immediate pleasure over lasting power. The call is ancient. The answer is yours. From ancient Egyptian temples to Tibetan monasteries, from Spartan warriors to Japanese samurai, all great spiritual traditions have recognized a fundamental truth. Sexual energy is the creative force of the universe manifested in humanity, and to waste it is to waste divinity itself. In Hindu Tantra, this energy is called leaves, the purest life essence which, once preserved, transforms into tejas, spiritual radiance, and then into brahmarya, divine force. The masters taught that anyone who preserves their seed for 40 days develops a magnetic presence capable of influencing the reality around them. The Chinese Taists were even more precise. They mapped how sexual jink energy travels up the spine, activating energy centers that awaken latent abilities, heightened intuition, natural charisma, extraordinary physical strength, and crystal-clear mental clarity. For them, ejaculation was literally tantamount to losing one's soul through sex. In esoteric Christianity, Monks and mystics practiced celibacy not through repression, but through transmutation. St. Paul spoke of the sacred fire that burns within the disciplined man. St. Thomas Aquinas spoke of the virtue of temperance, which transforms carnal desire into divine love, lust into devotion, and passion into compassion. Spartan warriors practiced absolute abstinence for months before battle. They believed and demonstrated in battle that accumulated sexual energy transformed into sacred fury, supernatural courage, and superhuman endurance. Alexander the Great maintained this accumulated energy during his most important campaigns, not out of moralism, but as a spiritual strategy. Medieval alchemy called this practice solve echo agula, dissolving the ordinary man to allow the superior man to emerge. The retained seed does not rot. It ferments, distills, sublimates, transforming itself into the elixir of eternal youth, the philosophical mercury, the philosopher's stone that transmutes lead into gold. Jung studied these traditions and discovered that they all pointed to the same process, individuation through the integration of the sexual shadow. The man who masters his most primitive impulses does not annihilate them, but elevates them. Transform animal energy into spiritual power, instinct into wisdom, desire into direction. September is the laboratory where this alchemy takes shape. 30 days to rediscover what monks, warriors, and mystics have always known. You carry within you a strength capable of moving mountains, provided you stop wasting it on grains of sand. A silent war is being waged against masculinity. And the most effective weapon isn't laws or rhetoric, it's pornography. An army of men has been castrated without a single blade touching their skin. This castration was energetic, spiritual, existential. Pornography isn't adult entertainment. It's social engineering, a technology of psychological domination that transforms warriors into consumers, kings into beggars, and creators into spectators. It doesn't satisfy desire. It perverts it, fragments it, and creates addiction, leaving a person eternally hungry, never satisfied. Consuming pornography isn't just about viewing images. You're training your brain to associate sexual pleasure with passivity, isolation, and fantasy. You're conditioning your life energy to satisfy yourself with artificial substitutes rather than seeking true expression. You become a dopamine addict disguised as a free man. The impact goes beyond the sexual. Pornography fragments attention, destroys the ability to concentrate deeply, generates social anxiety, and breeds depression disguised as pleasure. Men who should be building empires are fascinated by pixels, and those who should be conquering real women are trapped in unreal fantasies. But the cruelest thing is the spiritual inversion it causes. The energy that should rise, elevate consciousness, expand perception, connect with the divine, is constantly drawn towards the lower chakras, towards the most primitive instincts. Humanity is trapped in its own depths, forgetting that it was born to inhabit the top of the tower. Jungo would call this black anime possession. When unintegrated aspects of the male psyche unconsciously take control, the man believes he is choosing to watch pornography. But in reality, it is she who is choosing him. He thinks he is enjoying himself, but he is being devoured. Compulsive masturbation is the ritual of this possession. Every time you give in to your impulses, you offer your life energy to the altar of the forces that seek to keep you small, weak, and controllable. You literally offer yourself as a sacrifice to the digital demons that feed on your life force. September is the month of liberation, the month to break the invisible chains, to realize that you are not a consumer of pleasure, but a creator of reality. You were not born to be a spectator of life. You were born to be a protagonist. You were not born into this world to masturbate while watching others live. You were born to live so intensely that others want to watch you. Prison only exists as long as you don't realize you're in it. As soon as you recognize the bars, they begin to dissolve. September is that time, the time when the prisoner is freed. In the first days of September, we never stop masturbating. We awaken a sleeping king, a king who reigned over our inner kingdom before allowing himself to be seduced by easy pleasures, distracted by futile entertainments, convinced that he was only the object of his own desires. The first week is a revolution. Your body and mind are freeing themselves from the regime of instant gratification. It's uncomfortable, as all revolutions are. You're overthrowing an inner dictator that has controlled your life for years. Vivid dreams, restlessness, and irritability are symptoms of liberation, not imprisonment. Jung taught that the inner king awakens when we integrate our sexual shadow. When we stop denying or being slaves to our impulses and begin to consciously master them. Every time you feel desire and decide not to give in, you are strengthening atrophied spiritual muscles. You are proving to yourself that you are in charge, not obeying. In the second week, a magical phenomenon occurs. The energy lost through masturbation begins to circulate internally. Tai Chi practitioners call this the lesser celestial circulation. As it moves up the spine, the life force activates the upper chakras and illuminates the mind. You begin to feel a vitality you haven't felt in years. Your gaze changes, your voice deepens, your posture naturally straightens. This isn't bragging. It's true energetic alignment. When you stop leaking energy from your pores, it focuses, thickens, and transforms into a magnetic presence. People feel it even before you speak. By the third week, the king is crowned. You no longer need to fight your urges. They naturally submit to your inner authority. Discipline ceases to be an effort and becomes an identity. You are not someone who tries to stop masturbating. You are someone who simply doesn't. Period. The fourth week is the consolidation of the kingdom. Your energy stabilizes. His presence solidified, his vision clarified. You look back and barely recognize the man who gave birth to September. He was a child disguised as an adult. Now he is a king discovering the full extent of his power. But beware, being crowned king comes with responsibilities. Kings don't just rule themselves. They influence everything around them. Your transformed energy will affect your family, your work, and your relationships. People will react differently to your presence. Some will be attracted to your new presence. Others will be intimidated. The inner king does not seek approval. He commands respect. He does not court women. They are naturally drawn to your energetic sovereignty. They don't compete with other men. They instinctively recognize their authority. This isn't arrogance. It's the restoration of the natural order. Distorted by the age of instant gratification, September ends, but the king remains. For once you have demonstrated your own power. Once you have experienced mastery of your inner kingdom, you never again accept the servitude of external impulses. The crown once in place never comes off. There is something that modern science cannot measure, but that every woman feels: the magnetism of a man with seminal retention. It is neither charm, nor appearance, nor social status. It is something deeper, an energetic presence that communicates an inner power without a single word. Esoteric traditions explain it through the concept of aura, the electromagnetic field that surrounds every living being. Men who waste their sexual energy have weak, scattered auras filled with energy voids. Men who withhold their energy develop dense, coherent magnetic fields. This is spiritual physics in action. Women are naturally more sensitive to these subtle energies. They subconsciously sense the presence of a man who conserves his life force. They sense that he doesn't need them to feel complete. He doesn't desire them out of necessity, but rather appreciates them for their abundance. This lack of need arouses genuine interest. A reserved man also emits a different frequency in his social interactions. His attention is more present, his words more thoughtful, his silence is more eloquent. He doesn't let himself be constantly exhausted by mental sexual fantasies. This allows him to be truly present in every conversation, every moment, every experience. This creates a virtuous circle. People feel truly listened to by him, they naturally trust him, and they instinctively respect him. Opportunities begin to present themselves not by chance, but because his high energy attracts situations that resonate with his new vibrational frequency. Jung explained this through synchronicity, significant events that appear to coincide, but actually reflect an alignment between the inner and outer worlds. When a person aligns internally through retention, the outer world begins to align as well, creating opportunities that previously seemed impossible. Magnetism also works by contrast. In a world where energy is scattered, the focused person stands out dramatically. He is like a lit candle in a dark room. He doesn't need to shout to be noticed. His mere presence lights up the room. But this power has a dark side. Not everyone responds positively to his heightened magnetism. Some feel intimidated, others envious, others hostile. For their imposing presence reveals, by contrast, the weakness of those who lack inner discipline. Hence the importance of using this magnetism wisely, not to manipulate or dominate others, but to inspire and uplift, to show that it is possible to live differently, to demonstrate that true masculinity lies not in external conquest, but in internal mastery. Those who celebrate September will discover that their magnetism doesn't disappear with the end of the month. It becomes an integral part of their identity. For once you experience your natural energetic frequency, you will never again accept living below it. September isn't just a month of abstinence, it's an initiation. And every initiation has its guardians, tests imposed on you along the way, not to defeat you but to forge you. Only those who overcome challenges truly deserve transformation. The first guardian appears in the first week, doubt. It whispers to you that this is foolish, that you are depriving yourself unnecessarily, that a little won't hurt. Doubt is not your enemy. It is your first teacher. It teaches you that true transformation always begins with discomfort. Those who fail to overcome doubt never deserve transformation. The second guardian appears in the second week, emptiness. Suddenly, we feel as if we have lost something important, as if life has lost its flavor. This is the mind rebalancing itself, ceasing to seek pleasure in the wrong places. Emptiness teaches us that before we can absorb the new, we must empty ourselves of the old. You must die a boy to be reborn a man. The third guardian attacks in the third week, intensifying the temptation. Just when you think you're strong, he appears with triple power. Erotic dreams, chance encounters with old girlfriends, suggestive content appearing randomly on your newsfeed. Temptation tests whether you've truly changed or are just pretending. It separates the committed from the lazy. The fourth gatekeeper is the most subtle, pride. As the end of the month approaches, it whispers to you that you've already proven your worth, that you can treat yourself to a reward worthy of celebration. Pride destroys more spiritual journeys than all the other gatekeepers combined. It teaches you that humility is essential to the end, but that there are also inner guardians. Spiritual laziness convinces you that simply not masturbating won't transform other aspects of your life. Comparisons lead you to look at other men and believe yourself better or worse than them. Impatience seeks immediate results without going through the purification process. Jung taught that these challenges are projections of our own shadow, disintegrated aspects of our psyche that must be consciously confronted and assimilated. Each overcome guardian does not disappear. It becomes an ally, a part of our inner strength. The spiritual warrior knows that challenges never end. They only worsen. Ending September demonstrates that you can overcome fundamental obstacles. But your entire life will be a succession of more subtle, complex, and transformative challenges. So don't see obstacles as problems. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen yourself. Every time you resist a temptation, you invest strength in your spiritual reserve. Each defeated guardian grants you access to a higher level of inner power. Those who give up halfway didn't fail out of weakness. They failed because they didn't understand that obstacles were part of the prize, not hindrances. September isn't about avoiding difficulties. It's about discovering that you are stronger than any obstacle. The last day of September arrives and you look in the mirror, not really recognizing the one looking back at you. It's not just that you've overcome a challenge. You've been born again. The child who entered September died in the adventure. The man who emerged is a completely different being. Your relationship with pleasure has changed forever. You are no longer a slave to immediacy, addicted to artificial dopamine, trapped by incomprehensible impulses. You have developed a refined taste for true satisfaction, the kind that comes from hard work, authentic creation, true love, and meaningful contribution. Your presence in the world has been transformed. People react to you differently. Some are drawn to your magnetism, others are intimidated. You no longer seek external approval because you have found internal approval. You no longer seek validation because you have validated yourself in the only area that matters, self-confrontation. Your energy is organized, focused, and directed. Projects that seemed impossible now seem inevitable. Dormant talents have been awakened. Ambitions buried under years of distraction have resurfaced with force. You have reconnected with your existential mission, but above all, you have proven that you can choose. that you are neither a victim of your impulses, nor a prisoner of your compulsions, nor a slave to your weaknesses. This understanding changes everything, because you now know that any change is possible, provided you pay the price. Jung would say that you have completed a cycle of individuation. You have become yourself rather than a copy of social expectations. You have integrated the dark aspects of masculinity. You have transcended primitive conditioning, and you have become a conscious man rather than a conditioned animal. October is coming, but you will never be the same again, for a true transformation is underway. Once you experience acting from your center of power, you will never again accept living according to your compulsions. Once you taste inner sovereignty, you will never again be satisfied with outer slavery. Some men use September as a month-long experiment. You used it as a gateway to a new existence. Semen retention ceases to be a forced practice and becomes a natural expression of your higher identity. You don't refrain from masturbating. You're simply no longer the kind of man who does. Your path inspires others, not through sermons but by example. Men sense your transformed energy and begin to question their own decisions. Women sense your magnetic presence and wonder what makes you different. You are becoming living proof that real change is possible. September is coming to an end, but the man born from it is eternal. You have discovered that you were not born to waste your life energy on easy pleasures. He came to channel it towards sacred purposes. He wasn't born to be a consumer of fantasies. He was born to be a creator of realities. The boy died in September. The man lives forever. September has begun, and you face the most important decision of the year. You can continue living as a boy disguised as a man, wasting your life energy on empty clicks, being a slave to impulses you don't understand, accepting a neutered masculinity the system has sold you. Or you can accept the ancestral call. Join the millions of warriors around the world who have chosen transformation and discover the inner king who has always existed within you, but has been numbed by the easy pleasures of modernity. This is not a rational decision. It is a spiritual call. Your body knows the answer. Your soul recognizes the truth. Your destiny awaits. Rise to the challenge. Become the man you are meant to be. If this message has awakened something in you, don't let it die here. Subscribe to the Seeker channel. We are a community of men on a spiritual journey who reject mediocrity and seek transcendence. Share your thoughts on September Warrior. If you accept the challenge, share it with men who need to awaken. Check out our other videos on masculine energy, spiritual awakening, and inner mastery. We're not offering superficial motivation here, but profound transformation. The Seeker is for men who have decided to stop looking outside for what they can only find within. You are not alone on this journey. You are just beginning to awaken, and we are here to guide you